For those who truly knew BC, you also knew his friend. He was one heck of a guy, and he will be missed.
Stay nerdy and get your geek on.
What's up, guys? BC coming back at you guys with, honestly, what's probably going to be one of my more emotional toy reviews. This is the Takara Transformers Masterpiece MP-44 Optimus Prime 3.0 or Convoy version 3, whatever you want to call this. Basically the $450 Masterpiece Prime. Now, I'm going to put a disclaimer right here. The video that I am basically about to torture myself trying to make, I'm doing this because it's to honor somebody who once was a part of my friend group, who has been a very adamant part of the community, that being Scott Lee. He passed on January 11th of this year. And I've been relatively quiet about it after posting the video, but I feel like during that whole time of mourning, I decided it's time to honor him the best way I know how. That being, review what is honestly the best iteration of his favorite character from the entirety of the mythos. That being Optimus Prime. So, here we are. And it's a massive undertaking. So, if I cut corners here, please try to be a little understanding. This is not going to be an easy review for me to make, period. So, with that said, let's go ahead and get started with the accessories. Comes with a little die-cast matrix, which is kind of the standard now, I guess. I mean, say what you will about it. He comes with that thing from that episode accessory, which is the jetpack. He comes with this, which was more of a thing that the original toy had. So, it's an option. He comes with a clear stand adapter for the MP Dinobot stand. So, if you have the MP Dinobot stand, you can use this. He comes with two of these, which are blast effects, which are pretty neat. Comes with the Energon X, which is on its own separate hinge piece. Entirely translucent orange. Pretty cool. He comes with dying Prime parts. This is just morbid. Comes with an optional round head, which just looks really awkward. He comes with three little minifigures that love to disintegrate, so I'm not even going to remotely try to pose these. Carly, Sparkplug, Spike. In case those who are going to, yell at me for that. And what is honestly one of the coolest episode-specific accessories, you get the Starscream parts. To replicate the episode where Starscream disguised himself as Optimus Prime. It's niche stuff like this that I love. He comes with the ion rifle, which folds out. This is staying like this because I'm probably going to end up transforming this in a minute anyway. So, there you go. He comes with Roller. Yay! And that's about it for all of his accessories. Yeah, y'all knew I was kidding. coming underneath here, rotate these out. And there is a geared system in these arms that will push this piece down. Come up here, flip these down. Then you pop it open. And there's the anti-aircraft gun, which is actually removable and can fold up and deploy wheels. I'm kind of just brushing right through this. Has a little trailer hitch that can fold out from here, which Roller himself can attach to pull the aircraft gun if you so wish. But the real reason why we have this here is actually quite simple. It's so we can do what is kind of the staple with Optimus Prime toys in this day and age. And that is, if I remember to fold everything. There we go. Probably should have cut it, but whatever. We're rolling with it. Which is the little base form. Yeah, I realize this really isn't needed for the video, but it's here. I gotta show it all. I don't believe this piece. Oh, it does. Yes, it does. Yeah, it does. So you can fit one of the people in there. So that's nice. Yeah, I'm clearly messing with it a lot. But the top piece actually does come off as well. I just gotta remember how to do it. You know what? No, not worth it. Not even gonna try because I don't even use it anyway. These are all accessories that literally just stay in the box. So I'm not too worried. So yeah. This part of this entire video has gone on long enough. Let's move on to the truck. Actually, real quick before I move on, there is a sliding thing underneath here where you can store most of the accessories in here if you so desired. If you need everything, if you need to have your trailer out, which I don't, you could put everything in this, well, okay, close to everything in this, and everything will store. The only two things that don't really store all that well are the jetpack and the Starscream parts. I'll be right back. Size comparison wise. Hi everyone. And Bean. Hey, over here. See that? See that? Yeah, he's not even interested. Okay, alright. Enough is enough. Time to actually transform this beast, which, trust me, I'm getting a headache just thinking about it. But I'm going to suffer through it for you guys. So, let's begin. Take these side panels right here and just separate them out and swing them all the way back like that. For the sake of ease, I'm going to do one leg on camera, and then the other side is just going to get, you know, the magical little snap of the finger. So, first things first, we're going to take this bit, we're going to fold the side view mirror in, wrap it around, unpeg this, fold this around, down and around, and so right through. I feel like I'm doing this out of order. Ah, okay, yeah, I am. So bring this down, then swing this around And then this will flip back up onto itself. I believe it's supposed to do that. Yeah, it goes right there. Yeah, there we go. Jeez, I don't know why it was being such a pain in the butt. I'll be right back. My apologies, just had to reassess myself. Like I said, this is going to be a bit of a doozy to do, but we're basically just going to go ahead and do exactly what I was doing and just fold this up upon itself. And since my MP-44 is extremely stiff in most of these joints, I try to apply pressure right on this hinge so that it moves on the hinge and I'm not bending the plastic. So there we go. Once you have it like that, go ahead and flip that bit in and we'll be able to go from there. Take this bit and just swing it around like this. In theory, it should just all come around, because then you're going to flip this down, flip this up, come to this bit right here, flip this up, come on. Again, mine's super stiff. There we go. Up, flip. Once that's flipped up, you're going to go ahead and swing all this around like that, to where you basically have this whole conglomerate just chilling on this. Okay, well, let's just get this over with. Unplug this and separate the legs. By utilizing this set of hinges in here, you're going to basically just rock the rest of the leg down. Come to this side panel right here, flip out this panel, and then flip this whole panel up, and make sure that this properly tabs into what is effectively going to be his knee area. And that is a dead solid tab. Like, that leg is not going anywhere at that point. Rotate this bit in, and then just move it up to get it out of the way. Bring this piece... Is it this piece? No, because this has to come up first. Which, now nothing's moving for me. There we go. Yeah, there we go. You basically have to fold it up from this hinge right here. Like that. Keeping your mess of panels right here as nice and tight together as possible, proceed to fold it up into the leg cavity right here, which this is a lot easier said than done most of the time, which that time I've actually managed to get it all to plug together, so hooray, hooray. Yeah, so at this point just do some cleanup work. Fold this piece onto the leg, fold this piece in, bring that out of the way so that you can flip this piece out, which is super stiff on mine. I normally don't have this many issues with it. Why is it being a pain? Oh, sure. Now you want to work. Anyways, bring this down, flip this up, flip it up. And there's your leg. And we're going to do the same thing over on the other side. Well, okay. Do the same thing over on the other side. And there we go. So let's get him stood up so that we can start focusing on all of this. So, I think I do know where to start. Which is pretty much right at the butt. Fold this whole piece in, which is where the ion blaster stores on in truck mode. Fold that down. Bring his legs down. And just fold out what is effectively going to be his waist piece. Then the fun begins. Take the arms and start bringing them out like this to get them out of the way, at least for right now, because let's face it, we're going to need as much room to work with as we can muster up. Take the front bumper bit, fold these pieces in like this. And that should make sense here in a minute. Take this piece and undo it to bring it back like this. And that should give you the clearances that you may or may not need to get at least this bit to start moving. Take it from here and then just swing it up and around. Of course, once you do that, you're going to want to fold these open and get these panels up and out of the way. His head is right here. There's a lot of stuff to do here, so bear with me. We're going to try to get through this. This whole section right here, I believe, is what we actually got to start working on next. So we undo it from here, bring this down. Yeah, there we go. Basically, this whole entire matrix chamber just comes undone like this. And when you have that done, bring those bits out so you can bring this all the way down. This will just fold up and in like this for right now. Now, to deal with these, you basically now take the wheels, slide them down, fold them in, and this one is always the stubborn one for me. There we go. Fold these two pieces up, push them in, then you just bring them up, and they will fill in those two side parts right there. Start getting the head up and out of the way. Trust me, this will all make sense here in a minute. So, yeah, boom, right there. Once you get the head up, put that down, flip these panels up, then you rotate these panels around like this to allow for these panels to fit up in there like that. You take your little matrix chamber, you fold it up, you put it in there. And then you bring this whole piece down. Why is it not working properly? Ah, whatever. Just work with it. Work with the PC. Close up his chest. And then we'll work on the back. This whole entire back piece is going to fold up like this and click in right there. This panel flips up and then it comes up to further lock all this in place, and then these panels will fold down to create his very cartoon accurate backpack. We'll get into this. Not the electronics. Everybody's known about the electronics, but we'll get into how I feel about it. Pop his chest in like that. It's almost over, I promise. So you're going to go ahead and pull this piece out and then push the smokestack in. Rotate the arm up. Fold that panel in. And then just take this whole piece, swing it around like that. Flip this panel out. Completely rotate this panel around. Plug it in there. Get the hand out of the way. Tab that panel in. And once you got all that, just go ahead and reassess his arm. And then do the same thing on the other side. There you go. At this point, now all we gotta do is just get him looking pretty, and then we'll take a closer look at him. Good Christ. This is honestly the best looking G1 Optimus Prime we are probably ever going to get. This looks absolutely amazing in robot mode. I cannot even begin to describe the kind of nostalgic feelings I get from this robot mode. This is everything that many that grew up with the G1 Transformers, this is what Optimus Prime's toy truly felt like. As for me, this is G1 Optimus Prime. This isn't just a very decent plastic representation of G1 Optimus Prime. In my eyes, this is G1 Optimus Prime. So, there you go. From here, we're basically going to start going into gimmicks with the robot itself, and then we'll, usual business around here. Let's go! So the first thing I want to do is the Matrix. These will open up. This cavity opens up. You take this, stuff it right into his chest. And does that actually do that to where you can actually get the Matrix out easier? Kinda. It kinda helps. Oh, whatever. But yeah. Chest opens, Matrix fits in, no problems whatsoever. Now, there is a little slot right here on his abdomen that you can plug in this little battle damage piece. And then the head itself, rotated around, you can see there's this little block right here. That's effectively how the head swap works. So you just pull on that and you can see the ball jointed segment block right there, which you can then proceed to add on either of the three heads you so desire. And for whatever reason, my battle damage head is not wanting to fit. There we go. So there we go. Now Battle Damage Prime is looking like, he's looking like he's having a bad day. Real bad day. Real bad day. Oh well. One shall stand. It has never rang truer. For those of us that wanted to see it, there it is. I hope you're happy.
Foolish fool! Optimus Prime was never here!
The axe fits into his hand by yanking it off and plugging it in to where the hand once was. If I can even do this right. Because apparently I can't. There we go. And voila, he now has the battle axe. Woo! He can use the ion blaster and go pew pew pew. And there's his jetpack. Hey, yeah, here's the size comparison with Bean. Because, that's a thing. That's a thing. All the jokes aside, here are the actual size comparisons. There's MP Sideswipe, MP Ratchet, MP Bumblebee version 1.0, MP Ultra Magnus, MP Megatron, and what is probably my most insane size comparison ever, every single one of my Prime-esque MP characters. Yeah, he looks great with all of them. And finally, we have made it to the hand feel and articulation section. So hand feel wise, he feels wobbly. He feels very, very wobbly. Like, he's not going to fall apart on me. Like, at least not yet. But there's just something about this. Like, he's super, super wobbly. And bearing in mind the price of admission on this, that is not... I don't know about this, man. This feels very... Like, this doesn't feel like a high-quality piece. It is, do not get me wrong. It is definitely a very high-quality piece. I'm not sure if the amount of articulation he has was worth sacrificing structural integrity. Because there's a lot of joints on this. And we're going to get into that right now. Starting with the head, like I said, it is on that ball joint, which is how the head comes off to swap out. And it's on a separate panel that allows it to come up to allow further downward looking poses. Which is nice. It's a good thing that they kept that in mind, because he gets a really good up, he gets really good down, he gets basically the full 360 at the head, and he gets kind of the confused Prime look. So, that's all well and good. Arms are actually just as good, if not better. He's got one joint here that is super stiff. There we go. That goes out that far, and then allows it to go all the way up on a separate joint, which is on a soft detent. You can kind of see the exposed joint right here. He's got the bicep swivel. He's got a single bend at the elbow, or at least I think it is. Yeah, it's just a single bend. It goes that far, and I feel like that's all you really need. So I'm gonna go ahead and lock that so it's not freaking out on me. So he's got the full elbow curl, super squeaky wrist joints, but nothing's broken on me yet. And he's got the new age style of articulated hands, where he's got the thumb piece that's on its own separate hinge, but it doesn't have the hinge in the knuckle, and it's got the index finger that's articulated on 2 hinges, and the other 3 fingers that are articulated on 2 hinges. So, say what you will, but it's a thing. He's got a butterfly joint, which I'm going to count as more of the chest articulation, even though that's technically arms, but whatever. Now, when he's fully transformed, he really only gets that much as far as waist movement goes. However, they did account for this, because if you pull him up, you now get a much wider range of waist movement. And the further you go, the better it gets. And also, by unlocking this, you get an ab crunch. Not to a super crazy degree, but good enough. And, as you can see in here, the screw alone is your indicator that he has a teapot joint. And this teapot joint is actually utilized. Let me get him back into position. There we go. This teapot joint, wow, BC talk. This teapot joint is actually used in the product images showing him using the axe. So that is something that I think is really cool. That's a bit of a bummer, but again, the fact that it was accounted for, it makes me happy. So lock that in so we can get on with the rest of this. The hips are really weird because he gets the typical in and out from side to side. It's on a ratchet, a rather decent ratchet, even though shaking it causes it to go back down. He has the hip skirts that move out of the way on the back and the side. The front half of the hip, this is where things get really weird. Because when you bend the hip forward, it's not just this joint here that moves. When you get to about here is where the actual front piece starts folding into this. You get it. This is an entirely separate piece that folds into the waist area. I am falling apart on terminology here, so forgive me. He's got the thigh swivel, so that's accounted for. Knees get the full double jointed bend. If I scared you, I'm sorry. Ankles get a front and back pivot, as well as a toe pivot, and a pretty good ankle tilt, which is pretty good. Allow him to light our darkest hour as we start getting into the final thoughts. And we're, as per usual, we start with the negatives. My biggest glaring negative here, we'll save. But many more of my actual negatives mostly come from the build structure as a whole. This feels very, very wibbly wobbly. And that's an issue with this. Because while I have been very lucky with this, and I have not had anything break on me, especially when I was reviewing it this entire time, there are other people who are not nearly as lucky as me. Those knees, they're prone to breaking. Now granted, mine are fine. I've been working those knee joints since I got the figure. They work fine. They work perfectly fine. The electronics are neat, but ultimately you don't need them. The figure as a whole is fine without them. And here's the thing. Turning this around right now. This part right here, this whole conglomerate here, all of the complaints towards this half of the figure, y'all need to get over yourselves. Like, I'm just going to be flat out honest here. You need to get over yourselves. I have seen far worse on a figure. I have seen figures that literally wear their entire vehicle mode on their back. If you're willing to accept that, aka Cybertron Thunderblast, you can deal with this. That's all I'm saying. So back to the actual major glaring negatives and such. The big glaring negative with this, for me, it's the asking price. This thing's $450 price tag is absolutely asinine. I do not see how this is worth $450. Now, granted, I still got it. This isn't a KO. This is an official. This is officially licensed Hasbro, Takara, whatever you want to call it. This is an official Transformers product. And this being at $450, there should have been no issues with this to begin with whatsoever. The joints should have been nice and tight. The paint should have been pristine and clean. The accessory count should have been extremely reasonable. I get that they wanted this to be as fully featured as possible because he's a flagship character. But when you're starting to reach the point of over-engineering, breakage issues, paint issues, and way more accessories than you realistically need, this is a figure that just doesn't warrant the price. You cannot tell me that it does. You honestly can't. Now, granted, again, I still got it, but that's because I wanted the best version of Optimus Prime to ever exist. Leading into the positives, this figure is beautifully painted from head to toe. It is a statement of how good this looks on a shelf. Its display presence alone goes a long way with helping that price. Even though I still don't feel it's worth it. The articulation is pretty much almost completely there. I'm not sure if there's any other type of joint that I would want on this figure. I mean, maybe some better hands. Maybe I would argue that. The backpack that everybody seems to be complaining about, that doesn't bug me one little bit. You have display options with this, with the swappable heads. You have a lot of fun little gimmicks, like the jetpack, the blast effects. You even got the electronic features. This thing has a lot of gimmicks to it. It has display options to it. It has a lot of ways that would push the buyer's remorse down. But see, here's the thing. With all these positives I'm shooting at it, and I also, despite me fumbling through it, I do genuinely dig the transformation. I think it's absolutely ingenious how it all works. But with all that said, this figure, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of a thing here. The figure on its own, just as a whole in general, by himself, he's Platinum Seal. But if I were to go entirely based on the figure itself, that's not being fair to the entire process of the video. So while yes, I would love to be able to say that this is a Platinum Seal figure, it's not just the figure. It's everything you get in the box that we have to take into account. Which I'm sorry to everybody who really loves this figure. I'm going to be real with everybody right now. He's Silver Seal at tops. That $450 price tag, just no. Just no. If you can get it for cheaper, even cheaper than what I paid, do it. I would definitely say do it at that point. There are some people that got this for $350, which at $350, I definitely feel like you're getting a lot for your money. But $450, man, $450, I'm expecting a little bit more than this at this point. That's why he's Silver Seal. But here's the thing. I'm okay with haggling on this one. I kind of teetered between silver and gold. I ended up on silver entirely because this is a figure where you can tell he's meant for display. The paint chips on this a lot. And that's a problem. Looks good on the shelf, as long as you don't touch him. And that ultimately is going to be what brings this whole entire video to pretty much a close. So if you guys stuck around to this point, you know, I congratulate you. I hope that me fumbling through the transformation didn't completely and utterly just turn you away from the video altogether. And if you are watching this now, I greatly appreciate you guys for stepping in and really watching this video to commemorate my friend, Scott Lee, whom, again, this is his favorite character. This was his favorite character in the mythos. And while I do see how me harping on it could be considered a form of disrespect, it honestly isn't. Because the way I'm looking at it, I'm pretty sure Scott would have wanted me to be fair in this video. He would have wanted me to give a full-on, unbiased opinion on the entirety of the figure. I may feel a certain type of way about it, but in the end, I do still love this thing. And having done this review, I feel like I have more of a appreciation for it. So that we're gonna pop it out that gold. No, I'm just kidding. But that's basically all I got for you guys. It's a very well done figure. I think he's great. But he's not $400 great. With that said, now that I've finally gotten done doing all the videos that I had already technically pre-planned, I think it's about time we got back into the videos that I let other people pick. So therefore, I'm announcing this video that the next review is going to be... Did you really think I was going to tell you? You inferior souls. With that said, guys, this is BC saying Standard. You get your geek on. I'll talk to you guys later.